Time for an update on Milton. We got the 8 a.m. information in. I want to share it with you. That, of course, the great concern at one point, a Category 5 storm. You can see the winds really incredible yesterday. They came down a little bit overnight, then jumped back up early this morning. They're now starting to come back down a little bit as we've seen the eye get less well defined. Although I got to tell you, it's going through one of those cycles where it will likely kind of reform a little bit here. Notice some of that intense, those super high cloud tops circulating back around now. It got a little raggedy for a while, but we're starting to see a little bit more wrapping back around the center. So we may see that eye wall replacement cycle take place here. It's getting closer to Florida, and we now have a tornado watch up for South Florida as bands start to work across the area. Some of the showers out. The outermost areas starting to come under the influence of Milton here, already producing one tornado warning in south central Florida. So there's going to be a lot more as we go along. There's also storm surge alerts from the Big Bend down through Tampa and areas to the south as well. Very good chance for significant potentially deadly storm surge. So we're very concerned with this. Up to 12 feet, maybe a little bit higher in some areas. I will mention this is a little bit of a shift. Previously, Tampa was included in this 12 plus kind of range here. They've taken it down now up to 12 feet with the thrust a little farther south, including Sarasota and down towards Port Charlotte. So the Bay Area down that way, still looking at up to 12, but these barrier islands between Tampa and down that way are looking at potentially more than 12 foot of storm surge. On the backside, there could be some high water as well. Generally much lower amounts as you would imagine, but the winds could push some water back towards Daytona Beach and Jacksonville, and there is a potential for a little bit of flooding on the backside of the system. All right, I'm going to show you a new model here that I've kind of updated. This is taking the wind field from the GFS. This is the American model. This has done a really good job of handling it. I've also included what the future cast for rainfall looks like based on the HRRR model. So I'm showing you two different models because the HRRR is updated hourly. We get really good looks at what the model is suggesting the rain will be like in terms of these isolated, more intense cells. Any of these could produce spin-up tornadoes through the afternoon. So really, I'm mentioning we're already seeing a little bit of that down in south central Florida, but as the afternoon wears on, it's going to be rapid fire tornadoes spitting up in some of these bands. The center of circulation still offshore, winds coming up from the south, again capable of pushing some water into Tampa Bay or even up towards the Big Bend, as I just showed you the storm surge warnings, but more likely again down along that Gulf Coast around Sarasota down towards Fort Myers. So we're going to be watching for that. Again, the HRRR a little bit ahead of the GFS in terms of the actual center of circulation. Somewhere in here, though, it will be progressing, and you'll notice here's Tampa, here's Sarasota. It's still making that run towards this area. So it's going to be a really tough hit with this coming ashore sometime late evening or early morning, maybe just after midnight as we go towards, say, 1:30 or 2 o'clock. The eye actually coming ashore. But the rough weather rolling through central Florida, north central Florida here, heavy rain, potential flooding rain. We're planning on that being an issue. And then tomorrow morning as the system exits, we're going to see the winds shifting around to the backside. So what we have again, hurricane warnings up for Florida, central Florida. You can see Orlando in the heart of that, Tampa in the heart of it, and it extends up to Jacksonville. Jacksonville under a tropical storm warning, and they may have a hurricane watch there as well right at the beach. We'll see. But at any rate, they are bracing to deal with this as we go through the evening and overnight. Now here's a look at the official forecast track with the 8 a.m. advisory. The winds with this thing sustained 155 gusting to 195. So a powerful, powerful Category 4 hurricane. Earlier this morning it was a Cat 5 down to a Cat 4. But this is what is really a little disheartening. There was some hope yesterday that we were going to get more shear kind of breaking this thing up, maybe leaving it as a Cat 3 at landfall. could still happen, but right now the Hurricane Center is going with 130 mile per hour maximum sustained winds around landfall, and that's going to be somewhere early morning, maybe 1:30 to 2 o'clock in the morning, give or take. Could be a little earlier, could be a little faster, could be a little slower, but that landfall taking place overnight tonight, very close to Sarasota, maybe up towards Tampa, maybe a little farther south. We'll just have to see exactly how it comes in. It moves across Florida, then moves offshore as a hurricane initially. Eventually, it kind of merges with a stalled frontal boundary and becomes a post-tropical cyclone as it moves off to the east. A big concern there. We also have another area that is farther out. This is the one that was impacting South Florida yesterday with rain. It is out ahead of this. It is moving away. There is a better chance for some development with that as well. But again, as it moves farther away, Bermuda will keep an eye to it, but it's really not too much of a threat to land. As it develops, it should kind of slide off to the east, maybe coming in and producing some weather around Bermuda. We'll keep an eye to that. The other thing is Leslie, and Leslie is a hurricane once again, but you can see it's going to turn off to the north and weaken. No threat to us. Another area that we'll keep an eye to, a lower chance of development out that way. For now, the big concern obviously is Milton, and we will keep you updated on 13 News Now throughout the day and tonight and tomorrow morning. We'll keep you updated on how things play out in Florida and the impacts those folks will be feeling. Stay tuned and check back frequently for updates.